Welcome to day 4. S. Because we're going with the pause, the executive order, and pause, we were told. And I really pondered this one because the obvious is surrender. And it's so obvious that we bounce around this word like it's no big deal. And it is. It is a very important aspect that is attached to non-attachment. No, when you reach for your practice, when you reach for your yoga practice, when you reach for your meditation practice, when you reach for your tapping, when you reach for your Reiki, you know, my entire program, whatever you want to call it, tools, I like to think of it as a tool belt, you know, for life. But I like, rather than being forced to look at things, that we volunteer. And that is also kind of surrendering to what you are in denial of, or what you are trying to manage, whether that be your anxiety. You know, you managed that for so many years, being in the job that you didn't like, that you've managed to get away with whatever it is that you're getting away with. Only you know that. You're the only person that looks at yourself in the mirror in the morning and says, I'm really living my life on my terms, on my sovereignty. And this is a time for us to really surrender to the fixations. And that can even be people who go to the gym and they like their certain classes and they like to, that's their gathering place. Well, they don't have that. You might go to other places that you, lunches and all these things that we do, that now we are surrendering to isolate and self-isolate. So with that, what else? Like, I'm gonna have to surrender to Archie in a minute because he's like, oh, right? And let him in the room, because we have to go with what is happening. We have to go with and adjust and adapt to, and we've adjusted and adapted because we're supporting one another. That's another word, that's another S that came through. We're supporting each other's grandparents. We're supporting each other's friends that have compromised immune systems. We are supporting our village of people who have underlying conditions of asthma that they didn't know about, or the stresses of having asthma as a child and worrying that that's going to come back. You have to surrender to that as well. So, with the word surrender, it is that fixation of what we thought. We're only in the end of March. You put your intentions down and your dreams and what you thought this year was going to look like. And you have to surrender to that. You know, my birthday is next month. I may have to surrender to having a birthday with all of you guys. Virtually. You have to surrender to seeing things the way you wanted them to look, and take this moment of self-isolation to develop something. Because something is coming through all of you. innovation, creativity, ingenuity. That's a great word. Ingenuity. You're finding different people to connect with online, doing exercises, stretches, all sorts of things, coming up with ideas of, I always wanted to take this time, and I've got the pause now to develop this idea that I had. So we have to surrender to time as well. And we have to surrender to this notion of moving dates of when we're coming out of isolation and when we're coming out of quarantine. Because when we fixate on dates, we then have to put that date back. You know, I had a guy years ago who fixated that he wanted to be at a certain place in his life by the time he was 35. And when he gave that up, he was, I think, 33 and a half at this point. Because it is a childlike thing. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? We then start to say, well, maybe if I let go of this attachment to this age, then it'll happen faster. I'll see the possibilities. Because really, when you are fixating on what you think something should be, the absence of that is also vibrating. The absence of that and the anxiety of, but what if it doesn't happen? What if it doesn't happen? What if I don't have any control over it? And you miss things. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to really find this cell, this pinch, this grip, this maybe it's your inner child trying to hold everything together. Maybe it's bringing up your parents' divorce when everything shattered. And this is a time to look at that. Because if you're going to do something different with your life after this, whether that be in career or relationships or something dynamic, then this is a time to release the things that may have derailed you later. And that's when we can use each other's energy to drop in faster and also to go deeper than maybe you have been before, because we're in a field of consciousness. Even though we might be in different time zones, we might be in different cities, we might be just in different places in our practice, we are here together and we're going to get whatever benefit we need. A deepening, a ripening of our practice. And I'm going to be doing some energy on you while you're in meditation, to some Reiki energy, so spiritual conscious, life force energy. You pull Archie over, he obviously wants in the picture. Oh, he is. He is, oh my goodness. He's like, I need to be in the meditation. So let's take a round of 3 deep breaths, in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. And when you're finished, breathe in a relaxed way. As we connect to this frequency of surrender. The power of that. The ripening of that. Any sounds from outside or in your house, or that's all part of your moment here. You know, trying to block anything out. Start to feel your spine starting to strengthen, but still remain soft. Feeling a spaciousness. And the relaxation of your collarbone. Your skull. Your shoulders starting to soften and relax. Everything's starting to soften and relax. The breath is starting to soften. Any thoughts that come in, you're going to surrender them. Like seeing them on a piece of paper and set it on fire. Let it drift away. Just have it combust and drift away. Any fixations. Any fixations. Any habits. Anything you don't know how to change. Allow yourself to admit that you don't know how to change it. you're going to allow the energy of it to transmute without you trying to do it. Surrendering to the silence, to being in your own field of energy. Surrendering to that child within you, wanting to know, is it finished yet? Are we done now? Can we come back out and play? Expanding into this reality. This unique time you have. Finding that seed within you that's germinating an idea, a revelation, a realization. Surrendering the meanness, the comparisons to yourself. Allowing yourself to be that caterpillar that's surrenders to the process in the cocoon. Liquidizing all the forms and structures that you once knew. For that emergence. For you to be that monarch and reign in your reality and be that butterfly that others see as possible. Others are infected by your possibility. Your alchemy. Now you superseded yourself by letting go of what was. Letting it leave you. The known and the unknown. Feeling that energy rising up within you, rising through the earth, through your feet, to the ankles and the calves, rising up into the thighs, through the hips and lower lumbar, surrendering any smallness, any limitations. Inherited, ancestral, social, societal, economic, letting that all go now. I don't know. But I know it's amazing. I don't know where to start. But I've already started. Surrendering any of the excuses that you don't even know are excuses. Surrendering to every expression that wants to come through you. Surrendering to the sounds that's inside of you and letting them out. Take a nice deep breath. And gently open your eyes. That was good. Thank you so much, everyone. I was tapping on Archie for all of you. or that was bubbling up in some of you. Oh, that's right, I can tap on the dog too. That was very intense today. It feels good to feel, yes, we all are receiving a parcel. We all have a gift in the mail. That was the postman. Like a nice 2-second meditation. Yeah, I know. We go into a time dimension that is not linear. That to be doing this with you, it feels so aligned. It feels aligned. Yes, and a reboot for sure. It feels like it's really using up all that energy that you have been investing in yourself, and it's really putting it to use. Yes. Aligned and surrender, yes. Yes. There are many things that we have to, in life, let go of. There's a lot of things that we hold on to like this. And if we just let it go, it will come another way. But that is the hardest, to open your hands and let it go. And not just open one hand and keep the other one like a fist. You have to completely surrender whatever it is, or you will be in a fight for a very, very long time, and it can wear on you. It can really get you down, and it also blocks something new from coming in or revealing itself. And it is not about, always kind of like, oh, well, I just always have to forgive someone, always have to forgive someone, always have to forgive someone. But the thing is, that grudge, that anger is living inside of you. And the Buddha put it extremely well. It's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. That poison's inside of you. So we have to surrender to what we think should happen, what we thought that person should have done for us, what we think that friendship should have been, and just see it for who it is representing itself to be. And then ask yourself, oh, I have to surrender to these ideas that I impose on people, that I'm not seeing things for how they are, but how I want them to be. Am I there yet? You surrender to the practice that you will never be there. I mean, I've been working on a pose in yoga for 5 years. That's what you do. Once you get certain poses down, you work on a pose that you can do. And you work on that until you get that down. And it might be 5 years, 23 days, and 10 hours when it'll happen. But you surrender to when it's going to happen, and you just keep doing your practice. What you're really doing is you surrender to the fixated timeline that you think you should have it done in, and you start to drop into enjoy working on something and just being in it. Because even as we get older and older and older and older, what you're supposed to stop learning, you're supposed to stop. Next session is 11:11 tomorrow. What was 11:11? Being in this moment. But we use time to coordinate time and space for each other. 11:11 here, that might not be 11:11 in your time zone, wherever that is. So I think surrender to also watching the news so much. And being here, get it from one space. And surrender to having to know all the different things. It's always the right time, that's right. It's now time, it's always the right time. We're on time. Right now, we're on time. So thank you everyone for a beautiful meditation. Thank you Archie for bringing in that energy that they needed to work through. Thank you so much. Take care, everyone.